Sorry, I'm looking a little tired and dry. Just got back from water aerobics class. That's what I wanted to talk to you today about. Everyone says if you'll just walk half an hour every day, you'll be really healthy. But what happens when you can't walk? What happens when you have a back injury or degenerative disc disease and you're disabled? What happens when you have hip displacement and scoliosis and walking is painful, truly, truly painful? That's what I wanted to talk to you today about. And when I started my journey on the whole food plant-based diet, that was me. I was that little old lady in the motorized shopping cart at the grocery store. I was the one that couldn't go to the big box store without that motorized cart. I couldn't walk on those cement floors. I was the one that couldn't go grocery shopping because it literally took me days to recover from a grocery shopping trip. I was the one that couldn't do Christmas shopping because I couldn't go to more than one store at a time without just giving out and hurting, literally hurting. I spent my life in pain 24/7. I couldn't sleep at night. I couldn't stand to cook dinner. I couldn't clean my house because I couldn't sweep the floor or vacuum. That was me. And literally within months of adopting this diet, I wasn't like that anymore. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Everyone says that you don't need to exercise on this plan, that the weight will fall off by itself without doing any exercise. And to a certain extent, that is true. And I can honestly say probably the first 25 to 30 pounds, that was true. And anywhere, I'd say 27-ish. That was true. But there came a point where I just had so much energy and I noticed I was feeling so much better. I could stand again. I could stand and cook. For me, that was a big deal. To stand there through creating a recipe and following a recipe, I could stand in the kitchen and actually do that. That was a huge deal to me. And that was my first indication that you know, I have more energy and I have more flexibility and more mobility. And after that, then I sought out exercise. And yes, I can do my grocery shopping now, and I don't need that motorized cart. I can go to craft fairs, and I don't need my walking cane anymore. That cane is in the back of the closet, and it's not coming out until I'm at least 80, I swear. But then it wasn't enough for me. I needed more. And I plateaued on my weight loss, and I wasn't losing weight as easily. And so I needed something else. And what I discovered was water aerobics. I joined the YMCA, and it just changed my life. I started water aerobics, and there's these little foam dumbbells. And it doesn't look like much. It's only a couple ounces. But when you push it underneath the water, then it's a few pounds. And when you work at it for 2 hours like I do, then it's a really good workout. You don't have to work it for 2 hours. The class that I take is 1 hour twice a week, but I come half an hour early and I stay half an hour late. And I do that because I feel so good that I feel like I want that extra exercise. And so for me, that has been a game changer. And I started seeing my blood pressure go down when I started the water aerobics. And when you think about that, that makes complete sense. Your blood is moving and flowing and pumping in ways that it wasn't when you're just walking around the house and not really doing anything. Let's face it, I had a very idle life for years because of my disability. And so simple walking was exercise just around my house. I still don't walk for exercise because if I do it too much, it is painful for me. And I've made myself a vow to be off. Sorry, you've got a shake here. The car is running and I'm warming up the car. It's snowing out and I'm warming up the car before I go home. So sorry about that shake. Anyway, if I try to walk too much, I do get sore. I've made myself a vow to not take those pain meds anymore. And so my problem is that I am disabled and I have to remind myself that I am disabled. And that sounds weird. I know that sounds weird. But the problem is that I will overdo because I feel so good and I can do so much more than I could before, that I will overdo it and I will cause myself pain. And I don't want to take those medications that were poisoning my body and damaging my liver. And so I have to remind myself I am disabled, I have to take it easy, and I can't do as much as someone 20 years younger than me. So find something that you really like. For me, it was water aerobics because of my back injury. In the water, you're cushioned. And so it's easier on your joints. It's easier on your back and your hips and your knees. And for those of us who have carried a lot of weight for a lot of years, our knees are shot. Okay, let's be honest, our knees are shot. And it's going to take some time for those joints to recuperate. And being in the water, you're cushioned. Now, when I started this class, I was doing it just like everyone else. You do it in the shallow end, and you're still kind of bumping onto the bottom of the pool. And I was still getting sore and I was still having pain. And when I discussed my injury with my aerobics teacher, she said, you know, they give special classes for back injuries, but there was an added fee onto that. I didn't want to pay for my membership for the Y and then have to pay extra to take a class. That doesn't make sense to me. And she said, no, what we'll do for you is we'll treat you like they treat the people in that back class, but you'll still be here in the class with us. Well, that made sense to me. She said all they do is they put a flotation belt on the people and they go in the deep end, and that stops that jarring of the knees and the back on the bottom of the pool. So I started putting the weight belt around me and then going out with my little floaties. These are weights under the water, but they help you float as well on top of the water. And so I started doing just about everything that the class was doing in the shallow end, I was doing in the deep end, out there by myself. And the only things that I couldn't do are the things that require these floats to be up above your head, because even with that weight belt, I would still sink. So if the class was doing something with these weights up above the water, I pushed them down, so I still got a workout, and I was just keeping them down under the water. And that helped me to stay afloat. And then after probably 2 months of doing the class like that, I realized that I no longer needed that flotation belt. I don't even put it on anymore. I just rely on my muscles and these flotations pushing them down under the water to stay afloat for the exercises. And that's about the only adjustment I had to make to my water aerobics class for my back injury. So check to see if there's a YMCA in your area, and if you are disabled, speak to the instructor and tell them what your injury is and see what modifications they can do for you. Now, if you're in a wheelchair, YMCA has lifts to put you into the water. And generally speaking, what I have found is the YMCA is cheaper than like a gym would be. And generally they do have a pool. So call them up, see if there's one in your area, and check on those water aerobics classes. Now, I want to caution as well, if you're over 50, we need weight training as well. We need strengthening for our bones to keep our bones healthy. So I started with 2-pound weights at the house, and I just worked those, and then I moved up to 5-pound weights, and it's helping me on my arms with my saggy skin. And then I go maybe once or twice a week in addition to my water aerobics class, and I work in the weight room, and I use those weights on my legs and my arms, and there's even one to do my stomach that doesn't hurt my back. So if you're over 50, strength training is essential for our strong bones, because we don't want to have fractures as we age. And that's my advice to you is, I know everyone says just walk half an hour every day, but if you can't, that doesn't mean you have to be idle. Find something that works for you. Okay, guys? Have a great day.